Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Nolan Sanborn, and thank you so much for jumping onto this webinar and wanting to learn more about tax lien investing here in the state of Alabama. So again, my name is Nolan Sanborn. I've been living and working and buying tax lien property in this state of Alabama for just over 4 years now. And so this is a strategy that's so unique and so different compared to really any other investment strategy that I've discovered, at least, because it allows us to essentially purchase property for pennies on the dollar. And so if you're like me, you're probably out there trying to find an edge right now, especially in the marketplace where who knows if things are going to go up or down. But the amazing thing about at least Alabama tax liens, and I'll explain this here, is we're able to actually create an entire monopoly in this space because so few people know what even tax liens are, but more importantly, nobody knows how to do it. So with that information, we're able to beat everybody, and we can sell that information at a profit. And so what I'm going to show you guys today, essentially, is we're going to go over what a tax lien is, what a municipality, how they function, how they earn income. I'm going to show you all the tabs that you're going to need to have open, how to hunt the property down, how to know if they're a taxed lien or what the situation is with that property, how to apply for these properties on the state of Alabama website, and then inevitably profit, which is kind of the end game here. So let me just kind of go into, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth between a couple of these slides that I have up, and then also my tax lien book that I had written. It's an ebook. It's just called the Alabama Tax Lien Rules, Guidelines, and Directions and How to Profit in Alabama. So again, I'll read you this kind of quote out of the gate. He's an attorney in town. His name is Greg Stanley. But basically, you're not selling a product, you're selling information. You're taking your information that you know, using that information, then selling the results of that information. And so that's what makes this so cool, is you are and even now that you're on this webinar right now, you're in a much better position simply because you are understanding the ins and the outs of this strategy. So first, let me explain exactly what a tax lien is, or a lien in general. So a lien is just simply a claim to something. It's not real property, it's personal property, okay? And so what that means is that if you own a lien, think about this like a painter's lien, somebody that goes to paint your house, or a roofer that puts shingles on your home and you don't pay him, he's going to put a lien on your property. And that just means he's got a claim to something. He doesn't own your house, but if you were to sell it, he's going to get paid off on that lien, okay? And so what a tax lien is essentially is when, I'll explain at least what a tax lien is here too. So we're not describing a warranty deed or a quitclaim deed. Those are two separate things. A warranty deed is where it's some previous owner that had full, clear title to the property, and now they're conveying that property over to somebody else. That's not what this is. We don't have clear title or conveyance from the previous owner. We're purchasing the first position lien on this. And so, so the way that these tax liens work, and so let me explain just how a municipality functions, at least in Alabama. So each and every year, and it's probably the same where you live, you have to pay property taxes on the properties that you own. And so the reason why this is something that we have to do as owners, as property owners, is because that allows that municipality or that county or city or wherever you live to function and to pay its bills. So each and every year, at the beginning of the year, the city will determine its budget. And let's say, I'm just going to use the most basic numbers, but let's say that a county is anticipating spending $1 million that year. Well, then that means that from the property tax, or from the owners of real estate in that town, they need to make sure that the property taxes that are going to being paid in is going to equal or at least have a surplus of that $1 million. Because again, if they don't have the income from the property taxes coming in, then they're not going to be able to service their debt. They're not going to be able to pay all their obligations, which is like paying the schools, paying the firefighters, the mayors, the police department, things like that, the city workers that are fixing the roads. So all of those come into play through us paying, as property owners, paying property taxes, okay? So again, let's say that each year there's 1,000 houses in this municipality, and they're planning on earning $1 million. Well, let's only say that 700 people pay property taxes that year. Now that means there was $700,000 of revenue derived that year, so they're still now at a $300,000 deficit. So that means that what's going to happen, at least, and now, again, I'm not describing North Carolina or California or New York or Indiana. I'm describing Alabama and how they do their tax auctions, okay? But what happens is every year, again, these the courthouse steps. If somebody doesn't pay the property taxes, they'll go to the courthouse steps in May and say, hey, does anybody want to buy the first position lien to this property? We're up for grabs here. For $1,000, you can buy a first position lien on this, which is that claim to something. And what that means is, let's say a person comes up there, let's say 20 people show up and they buy another 20 of the properties. Well, what happens is there's still $100,000 that the municipality is in a deficit still. And so what that means is after if they're at a deficit, how are they supposed to pay their bills? Well, in Alabama, the state of Alabama actually steps in and writes that county or that municipality a check for whatever the outstanding delinquency is or whatever the outstanding debt is or the deficit is. And then the state of Alabama then takes over that first position lien, and then they're the ones that own it. So those are the properties that we are going after. One, because they weren't purchased by other investors on the courthouse steps. But number two, nobody knows how to get to these things. So you can buy these properties at a crazy discount for whatever the state's in it for. So again, like $1,000, if a property is worth $50,000, you can buy them for like $600 because that's what the county is in it for. Okay. So I wanted to explain exactly how these properties become eligible for us to purchase these tax properties, okay? So again, I was just showing you that's kind of an overview of how at least the state of Alabama does it, is they go and buy these tax properties from that municipality because no investors showed up at the courthouse and bought those properties from them. But now the best part is that municipality is full again and whole, and they can again function on their annual budget that they pressed out to the county that year. So again, let's just describe here. I'm going to describe the differences between a certificate and a tax certificate and a tax deed. So one thing is a tax deed and tax certificate. They're both under the umbrella of a tax lien. They're just describing the same thing, but just the maturity of when it was sold to the state. Okay. And so what I mean is I'm going to read this, but it says basically when the county sells the taxes on a piece of property, they're essentially selling a certificate. That certificate remains a certificate for 3 years. So then on the third anniversary of that certificate, it becomes validated and it matures into a deed. And basically that's not really telling you all that much. The biggest difference between a certificate and a deed is just the redeemability. And what I mean is for a certificate, if it's in the first 3 years of a property being delinquent, the previous owner, it's pretty easy for them to come back and just redeem the property. They can go down to the courthouse and say, hey, how much do I owe? And the courthouse is going to say you owe $1,000 plus some interest, X, Y, and Z. And they're going to cut a check for that. And then basically they get their property back. Well, when that property matures into a deed after 3 years that it's been purchased from by the state, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for that previous owner to come back and redeem it. And why that is because if you were the owner of that lien or you own that first position lien as a deed when it matures, the previous owner, if they want to come back and get it from you, they not only have to pay you all the back taxes, all the back interest, but if they have to actually sue you and pay your court costs, pay your attorney fees. And so it can get pretty expensive pretty quickly. So and it depends and it varies for each county in the state of Alabama, but it's going to range in that interest, that annual interest, anywhere from 8 to 12% every single year that's accruing against that outstanding back taxes, okay? And so here's another thing, and I just wanted to distinguish the difference between a certificate and a deed. They're both liens, but it's just describing the age of the lien, if that makes sense, okay? I want to describe here, too, the improvements. This is another amazing reason why buying liens are so awesome, is because when you go and purchase a property, you buy the back taxes for $1,000, and you can see here, too, it doesn't matter what you pay for an improvement on the property. It just matters what the value is. And so what I mean is if you were to pay a contractor to go put new windows, a roof, and a door, and a front door on your home, on this property, and it would cost $15,000 for the contractor to do it, but you went and did it yourself, or you hired your little brother to go out there and do it, and it cost $6,000, well, guess what? If the previous owner wants to come back and redeem, they have to redeem based upon the value of the improvement, which is what your contractor quoted at $15,000. So they have to cut you a check for that $15,000 plus the interest that was outstanding on that too. So you can make it pretty difficult pretty quickly to go out there and make it almost impossible for that person to come back and redeem. But I'll explain a little bit more about that. But again, I have it on here. You make sure you document that, showing the value before you made the repair and then what the value looks like after you made the repair. Okay. And then even more so too, ask some type of real estate professional to have a comparative rate of, a market comparison and do what the before and after values are for that property. And so again, like I even have here too, that the county will then will let the lien holder, that previous owner, take the property back as long as that you have been paid the back taxes, the interest, the improvements that you made, the value of it, plus the interest on that too. So let me show you here what the next move would be if you held on to a deed for those 3 years and you wanted a quiet title. And what quieting title means essentially is that we are going to take what was before just a claim to something or a lien, and we're going to turn it into a marketable title or a clear title or a warranty deed, like I mentioned earlier. And again, a warranty deed just simply states that you can get title insurance, which means that there's nobody else in the world that has claim to that property except for you. And that's basically warranting that you have claim to that property. And so, again, insurance companies or title insurance companies will give you insurance on a property if you have a warranty deed. Which just means that you have proper conveyance from the previous owner to you. But to quiet a title, which means you don't have conveyance from the previous owner, but you've waited long enough. If you see this here, it's got to be at least 3 years of possession and the deed. So that's basically saying almost year 6 from when it was purchased by the state. So if you have a tax certificate, your possession doesn't help as far as getting you to quiet title. Your possession helps, though, as far as making repairs and creating rental income. So what I mean is, if property was vacant and it was just a tax certificate, well, you can go in and immediately begin rehabbing that property and sticking a tenant in there as soon as possible. But again, let's just talk about the differences between the tax certificate, again, becomes a deed after 3 years. The title becomes quieted after 3 more years. So then the title and the deed become marketable after 6 years total. And so a marketable title essentially just means you can get title insurance on it, and that means that, and candidly, that means that someone can actually borrow money to buy the property because a bank is going to want to have first position lien on that property, okay? And again, like I mentioned before, a tax certificate or a tax deed or lien is not real property. It's just simply personal property. It's like you have a claim to something, okay? And so, I'll give you a quick little synopsis on how we can get a faster conveyance from the previous owner to me. So how I normally do this is, again, when I go have a property, again, I'll just read this, but when you have a tax certificate from the state, you can immediately demand possession. Once that I have that deed or that certificate in my hand and I record it at the courthouse, I can immediately go down to that property and change the locks and put the utilities in my name if I wanted to. Because at the end of the day, my whole game is I'm trying to earn passive income. I think you and I are the same. And so, but what happens is, again, why somebody doesn't pay the property taxes, I don't really know why most times, but there's always some type of excuse. Somebody's died, somebody's moved, someone got divorced, something happened, and that's the reason why they're not paying the taxes. But here's where this gets really cool, is because you go in there and you change the locks, especially if it's been vacant. You go in and you change the locks and you do all these improvements to the property where somebody in that neighborhood is going to know whose home that is. And they're going to come up to you. They're going to say, hey, that's so-and-so's house or whatever. And you'd say, man, I would love to meet them because I'd love to buy this property. So what you do essentially is you put them in this awesome position where you can say, look, you either cut me a check back for what I got in it, which is the back taxes plus the improvements plus the interest, or because it's going to be more expensive this way, or I write you a check. And making sure, you go through an attorney, make sure that's the right person, but I write you a check. And then what that does is, as long as that's the correct person that owned it before and they have conveyance and they convey their interest over to you through a quitclaim deed, that means that now you have conveyance from the previous owner. And then if there's no other liens on the property, you can get title insurance because it matures. That's now a warranty deed. That's the strongest deed. It can hold up to any type of title insurance or any other kind of claim that's out there, okay? As I said here, like I have on here too, a tax deed won't stand up to title insurance because, again, it's not a claim to something. You haven't had conveyance from the previous owner. So, but here's the thing though, is I explain this going on in my course, but you can still sell these tax liens, and I'll explain more in a minute on exactly how to do that. But still, if someone wants to buy a tax lien from you, that's no problem. It just has to be a cash deal. Again, nobody's going to lend money on something that they don't have at least first position on, okay? So again, if the property, if I have like here, most circumstances, if someone hasn't done anything with the property over the last 3 years, they probably won't do anything now because it's going to be crazy expensive to redeem. And so that's going to give you this awesome quitclaim deed opportunity. Okay. So, and again, and here's just another quick little idea on at least proving that you have demanded possession is when you go in and you record and assess that certificate or that deed at the courthouse. You're going to go part in demand possession. And the way that I do that is I change the locks and I put the utilities in my name, because as you can see here, if somebody comes back and tries to say to me in a couple months after I've improved the real estate and I moved the tenant in and I'm cash flowing it, and they say, wait a minute, that's my house and I live there, and I'd say, well, how come the utilities are in my name, and how come you don't have a key to the front door? So it can show really quickly that you have demanded possession and you have taken possession of that property, because again, it's a little bit more going into the weeds with at least not with attorneys and things like that. But as long as you are demanding possession the proper way, you can take immediate possession that way. Okay. So now that I just kind of gave you a quick overview of exactly how what tax liens are, the municipalities, how they make money, let me show you guys exactly how I go in and I find tax properties that are available to be purchased right now, and how I do this every day of the week. Especially now, if you guys get down the rabbit hole in this thing, showing you guys how you can hire assistants and you guys can make this just completely automated. But let me show you here really quickly the 4 websites that I want you guys to have pulled up, okay, if you follow along with me now, okay? So I want, and I'm going to just speak only right now on Jefferson County, which is in Alabama, which is where Birmingham is. You can do this in any state, though. I just like using Birmingham because I live here. But again, this can happen in every single county in the state of Alabama. But I want you to pull up these 4 sites. So I want you to pull up the Citizens Access Portal. And you can just type this in on Google. I mean, if I go to Google and I type in, you can see here, Jefferson County Citizens Access Portal, it'll pop right up, and then bam, I'm there. So you can see that these are, you can do this for any county essentially, okay? So I'll go to Google again. But I want you to have these 4 sites pulled up. I want you to have the Citizens Access Portal, the Jefferson County Parcel Lookup, or again, whatever parcel or whatever county that you're in. And then also, this is called the Alabama Department of Revenue. And I can show you these links. If I haven't already sent it to you, I'll send it to you below. And you can have these links already pulled up. Hopefully this will come with the PDF. But I'm going to show you how exactly I go and I find tax properties, how exactly I go and make sure I know what I'm buying. I verify that I'm buying the correct property, and then how I apply for these properties, and how you can too. It's crazy easy. But again, nobody knows how to do this, and that's what makes this so cool, is that at the end of the day, we are creating a monopoly, in my opinion, because this is the best part about buying from Alabama Department of Revenue. There is no competition, because again, sure, there's other people that are applying for property, but when you get a price notice back, and I'll explain that in a minute, you're the only person in the whole country that has claim to that parcel at that time. And so let me explain more to you guys. So again, here, this is one thing that I like to do, and again, I'm just explaining here in Jefferson County. You can do this in any county, but this just seems to be, I know this county, and I like working here a lot because there's a ton of opportunity. I believe back in 2021 or 2021, there was about 24,000 delinquent parcels in this county only. So if you want to talk about opportunity, at least in Birmingham or Jefferson County, this is the county to do it in. But let me explain here something. Let me zoom out again. But this is an area that I really like. It's called Fairfield. I like Fairfield. I like Bessemer. There's a couple other little spots over here that I really like. But it's on the west side here of town in Birmingham. And so what I like to do, in the way that I do this, so again, I've discovered, I'm going to zone in on here. I see Fairfield right here. So I'm going to zoom into Fairfield. You can see this. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how you guys can apply for these properties. So you can see as I keep zooming in, I'm getting closer and closer to finding each parcel. So now that I've got it zoomed in close enough, I can see that each parcel has its own. If you're looking on the right here, oops, let me move my person over here. Come here. Wow. But what I'm seeing is over on the right-hand side, right underneath me, I wish I could, there we go. Right underneath me here, you can see that I can find who the owner is, the street address, all the information of the property, even more so too, when I click here for the property information, really I can see all the information on this property. It's really amazing. But let me explain more how we discover which properties are delinquent and which ones aren't. Let me see if I can there we go. Make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So from here, let's just go with this property. So again, what I want to show you guys is that there's going to be properties here, like for example, like if you notice, these all have structures on them. You can see that this property has a structure. Look, you can even see Sage Family Trust. That might be an opportunity. You can see that this property right here doesn't have any structure on it. Okay, that might be the person that owns next to it. Who knows, right? We don't even know. But let's just go and we know that first of all, we know that we like this area of town. Okay, so I'm going to click this property right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here for additional information. Now we notice there that you can't see that this property is. You go down here and you see that the total fees and interest of the property taxes has been fully paid. So we know now that this property is fully up to date on property taxes. But here's the thing, is the way that we go out there and discover if these property taxes, or if you can imagine almost like a tree, like an epicenter of like a tree. And so if we go up here to the parcel number at the very top, I'm going to copy this all the way down to the point, hit copy. I'm going to go over to the tax delinquent Department of Revenue. I'm going to go into parcel numbers. I'm going to hit paste. But before you hit enter, here's two things that you need to do. And I can pull up, I don't have it on here, but pull up that every county has a distinct number. And Jefferson County is 01, okay? And Walker County and Duluth County and Baldwin County all have different numbers. I don't know them off the top of my head, but but for example, I know Jefferson County is 01. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put 01 in the very front, because again, this is the whole state of Alabama. So I'm going to go 01, and then I'm going to remove all of these spaces in between these numbers, okay? Now, again, before you hit enter, I want to copy this number. I'm going to hit copy. Now watch what happens. I'm going to hit search, and no properties pop up. Now, why is that? Remember, ask yourself, we just typed in the exact number for that one particular property, okay? So that means that it's not delinquent. We saw that it was fully paid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that same number in, and every time I delete a number off the back like this, it's widening out its parcel map. So if we go back really quickly, let's look at this really quick. Look at the parcel right here. Look at this parcel number, okay? You see it's 012. Or 012000. Now watch what I go next to it. It's going to go 011. So it's right next to it. So what we're doing is every time that we remove a last number, it's making that search just a little bit bigger, okay? So again, I'm going to go right here. I deleted a couple numbers off the back. Now, let's hit search. Boom, we got a couple. We could probably go a little bit farther. We can go, even a little bit bigger if we wanted to, where this whole thing will get way larger. So like, watch this. Delete these numbers. Watch what happens. Let's see how much bigger it gets, how many more properties that we can have. Oh yeah, here we go. So now we got even more property. And so just a quick rule of thumb too. Again, this doesn't apply for every property, but quick rule of thumb, any property that has the amount bid at tax sale that's over $1,000, it's most likely going to have a structure on it. The ones that have $144 or smaller numbers, probably not going to have a structure on it, okay? So here's what we do now. Here's exactly what we do now just to verify. So let's look at this property right here. Plymouth Park Tax Services LLC. So let's look at the description, which is Lot 6, Block 10, Ridgeway Corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the 01 because now I'm going back to the county of Jefferson County. I'm going to remove 01 and copy up to about a couple of these zeros, okay? I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to go back to Jefferson County. The Citizens Access Portal, which is that first one that we popped up. I'm going to click parcel number. Okay, there's 3 different ones. Name is always going to auto-generate, but I want to click on parcel. I want to copy I want to paste that number in. Now, let's hit search. Boom. Now, you can see here. Now, look at this. Now, this is a huge opportunity. I mean, I just went off this on the fly. But look at this. Look where this property is. It's in New Jersey. They're not even in the same state of Alabama. So what I'm going to do, you notice here, look at this. Total due, please contact the county because this property is in tax sale, right? This is an opportunity. So let's click on the property. Now, most important, we need to verify that this is the correct property that's also on the state website. Now, how do we do that? Again, remember what I mentioned a minute ago when I was talking about verifying the description? So lot 6, block 10, Ridgeway Corner. Let's go back over here, and let's go over here to land, and let's look at the meets and the bounds, or the legal description. So the meets and the bounds, lot 6, block 10, Ridgeway Corner. Lot 6, block 10, Ridgeway Corner. Perfect. So we know that we've got the same property. Okay, that's awesome. Now, here's what we do. Now we know, and here's a quick little mix-up too here. This can get people confused. This is currently the correct owner is Plymouth Park Tax Services, LLC. You can get all the information on this property. Look at this. So we've got 1,600 square feet. That's awesome. A 3-1, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It sits on, 9,200 square feet of land. It was bought back in 1999 for $50,000. You can see that the property taxes have not been paid. And these guys have owned this for quite a long time. It's been a while since they've owned it, okay? But let's look at this. The address, where it says P.O. Box 2288, Morristown, New Jersey, that is the address of where the owner of the property wants any type of information to be sent to. That's not the location of the property, okay? The location right here, where the real property is always in the location. Where this one says 709 Noland Place, Birmingham, Alabama. So here's what I do now. This is the next step. I'm going to copy this address, or the location here. I'm going to go into Jefferson County, parcel lookup, and I'm going to paste that in there. And I'm going to hit search. It's going to auto-generate. It's probably going to be pretty close to where we are right now. As that's auto-generating, I'm going to go over to Google. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy and paste that property in there. Now, there's a couple different things that popped up here, but let's look on here. Well, so here we go. Let's zoom in a little bit on our Jefferson County parcel lookup. Now, we can see here that this looks to be, that's not it. Let's see here. Where is this thing? Here we go. 709 Noland Place, Fairfield, Alabama. So it looks like, you can see this has a structure on it. This has a piece of real estate on it. Let's go in here and verify by looking at Street View on Google. And you can see here, it looks to be that there's a property on here. You see what I'm saying here? So, and again, this is verifying based upon a Google search. But if we see that this is on the corner, I'm going to go and see. It's looking like it's this property maybe. Let's find out. Where am I looking at? Yeah. Okay. So, it's this property right here. This is the property right here. So you can see that looks pretty decent. Like, that's a nice looking piece of real estate right there, okay? So again, we don't know a lot of information on this property yet. We don't. But we know that, I'm assuming that this is probably just a rental property. Someone that's whoever owns Plymouth Parks Tax Services in New Jersey owns this property and is just collecting rent on it, okay? But here's the thing. Now that we've verified that this property is owned by somebody else, it's delinquent, we've verified the description to match the Citizens Access Portal, we know that they've been delinquent for quite a long time. Again, we know that these guys are the correct owners. Everything is matching up. Now, here's what we do. Here's how we apply for this property, okay? So we're going to go over here to the CS number. We're going to click on it. And up will generate this opportunity to fill out our information, okay? So let's just apply for this as I'm right here, okay? And obviously, the way that I would encourage you guys to, after you do this a couple times, you get your reps and you are okay. You're discovering where to look and everything like that, and you've got your sites down. You know what you're doing. You can have all the stuff auto-populate. Like, for example, I click here and I want my home information to fill out. Well, maybe it's not going to do it this time. Well, anyway, I'm going to have my work information filled out, and there it goes. It fills out everything that way. And so, again, I'm just going to fill out this information this way, and it just fills out all my information. I just hit submit, and let's see what happens. And then boom. So thanks for submitting an application to this property. So what that now means is that that doesn't cost me, and it doesn't even bind me to anything. It doesn't bind me to purchasing this property. It's just what I'm doing now essentially is I'm sending in an application or a price notice to the state of Alabama saying, hey, I want to inquire about this. Can you give me more information? Can you give me what the total back taxes are and the amount of interest on top of it? And so what will happen is, again, this won't happen overnight, but it depends upon where you are in the queue. And what I mean is there's other people applying for these properties as well. But what they'll do is what you'll receive in the mail is you'll receive what is called a tax notice or a price notice. And what that's going to show you is it's going to show all the information on a property that I have applied for. It's going to have, okay, this is the county, this is who it's assessed to, this is the CS number, the day that was sold to the state, which is important. Because again, if it's been over 3 years, we know it's a deed, and we know if it's a deed, that means it's going to be a lot more difficult for that owner to come back and redeem it from us. Well, again, now that we have this parcel number, what I would do is I'd go and I would verify that this property is the one that I want and I applied for. I double check and verify again that the legal description is correct. And then I see the price. I see what the total price is. And again, this doesn't bind me to anything. All it says is that I have 10 days, or when it was sent to me, which is back in December, this tax price notice was. And I have 10 days to send a certified check into the state of Alabama. And what they'll end up doing is they'll send me a letter back in the mail, and it will say, hey, we have received your money or your cashier's check, and it's been verified. We are now filing all this information. We're going to send you a tax certificate or a deed or whatever, however much maturity it is. We're going to send that to you in the mail. You're going to receive it in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And so what happens from there is then you now receive that property in the mail. You go down and record and assess it, and now you have first position lien on a tax property. And so this is basically how much fun it gets, because you can buy these properties left and right, up and down, all over the map all day long. If you remember what we just did a minute ago, just on this property, on this parcel, let's just copy these numbers in for a split second and go back in to what the Department of Revenue says. Oops, let's go back, and let's go back. And so go with the parcel number again. I'm going to type in 01, remove those spaces again. Remember, we always have to add 01 or whatever that county map number is. I'm going to copy this because I don't want to keep on going back and forth and deleting numbers. I'm going to hit search. Again, there's going to be a few properties that pull up here. Let's see how many as it's thinking. So we've got these 2 properties. Now let's do this. Let's do this. And let's just delete out until where there's only 4 numbers. So now we're casting a huge net. So let's just see, just to show you how many properties are really delinquent in the state. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And what this is, and this just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. There's so many opportunities. On and on. So here's what I'm getting at, is for you as an investor, there is opportunity to purchase tax liens in the state of Alabama. And again, there's ways that I teach you in my course how to wholesale, how to flip property, what the difference is between, again, a tax deed and a warranty deed, knowing exactly how to convey interest from the previous owner over to the new owner, which is you, how to deal with attorneys, how to negotiate financing with contractors, understanding all the documents in the leases. I'll even show you really quickly. I want to show you all the documentation that I provide in this course that you just get that comes with the course. And so I put it in my Google Drive here, and you basically have access to all of these documents. And so let's see here. So here's what you guys get inside of this. So you have not just this ebook that I had written earlier, which has, again, all the step-by-step information on exactly how to apply for these properties. So you don't have to keep watching this, but I walk you step-by-step through with pictures and everything. But again, you get all these documents that come with, and just from the attorneys, I probably paid over $20,000 over the years having these documents drawn up and created by attorneys. And so you can see here, just like a declaration of trust and agreement. All this stuff is in every one of you that you basically just get to have. It comes with this course. And again, the video course is having almost 60 videos explaining all the mistakes that I've made as an investor, the things that I've done incorrectly or wish that I could have gone back and done differently. explaining how to negotiate getting a quitclaim deed from the previous owner, because again, the best way that you can make money in this is, especially wholesaling. I showed the easiest way to make $10,000. I mean, it's easy. I mean, I make it every other week at least by flipping these properties and showing clients the perfect way and exactly how. I mean, it's crazy, step by step by step by step. And I show everyone how to do that, and at least how I've done it, how I've made over $2 million doing these types of deals. And so I hope that this is helpful, at least explaining how you guys can go in and apply for these tax properties. And again, there's deals everywhere. I mean, this is deal after deal after deal. And again, it's not going to happen overnight, but if you stay the course and you go in and you buy these properties like this, you can flip them all day long to other investors and make quick $4,000, a quick $6,000. You can hold them, you can turn them into warranty deeds and make 25x your money. You can cash flow them. I show exactly how to do an owner finance deal, how to do subject to deals, how to use tax properties to get you where you financially want to go so much faster. So I hope this is helpful. Again, there's going to be a link on this video that if you want to buy this course, again, what another fun part about this as well is not only does this course come with all this information, not all the documents, but also too, it even comes with an affiliate link. So if for every course or everybody that would, you send a link out to a friend or to a colleague or to a business associate and they purchase the course, you're going to get a $250 commission essentially. And so you have 5 people that use your link, you basically get this course for free. And so I really hope that this is valuable and helpful to you. Tax lien investing in Alabama has totally changed my life. It's made me more money and more experiences and candidly more business associates than I ever had dreamed, because this is an untapped market. I mean, you can see this just keeps going. Let's go to the next page. It's untapped. It's untapped. There's so many deals out there. Look at this. Look at this. There's so many deals out there that if you are not jumping in on this, you're simply it's your loss. It's your loss. And so, and I hope that this is valuable enough to where you'll take action, because again, compound interest only works over time. And so if you're not taking action on this opportunity, this is just in one county, by the way. This is in Jefferson County. What about all the other 48 counties that are in the state of Alabama? Just think about that. Look at this. So I can't do all these deals. That's why I have no problem showing exactly how to do all this and how I've made my money in this space, because there are so many opportunities to take advantage of this right now that would highly encourage you to take action today. And again, guys, I want to be as valuable as I can to you. Give me your feedback on what your thoughts are on this. But again, pretty straightforward. There's so many opportunities. I show you exactly how you can apply for all these properties each and every time, how you go and put them on Facebook, how to, again, wholesale them, how to use a closing attorney, how to work with closing agents, again, how to stick tenants in, the best and fastest way to earn infinite return on your money. I go through it all. I basically spill the beans and I show my hand and show how I've made a lot of money, specifically in tax liens in the state of Alabama. So again, guys, if you're on the fence, I'm hoping that today will be the day that you take action to move forward in your investing career and in your life. And I hope that infinite banking, or at least tax lien investing, the way that this has been, impacts and changes your life as much as it has mine. Hope to see you guys soon. Looking forward to seeing you on the other side.